Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. And with iLLeY returning to OpTic starting lineup, Rambo reckons this is it with the musical chairs, and this should at least be the roster for the remainder of OpTic season, but also explaining exactly why they're so much better with iLLeY in the team. For whatever reason, his leadership brings out the best in the rest of the guys, saying they're getting back to their former form in their scrims the last couple of days. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new. As always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Plenty to discuss today. Thought this is pretty funny from OpTic as well. They did kind of, I guess, what's in the box there. Your Scump Call of Duty Vanguard. And well, he was wondering what exactly it might end up being. And I wanted to mention this from Boston Breach as well, because well, they officially announced yesterday. We've heard this rumor for quite some time that they do now have an academy roster. Doug sent to Martin, Ghosty, kind of the guy that I think Doug is living with, or whatever the situation is there still now. Volant, I think maybe Volant doesn't go as Volant anymore. He wants to go as Kywin or something. This guy's changed his name a few times. People do reckon this guy might well be kind of one of the next up players in the challenger scene, and Shawnee's there as well. Cool to see also for Shawnee because, like as Doug says, proud to announce officially joined the academy, right? It's pretty cool stuff. Of course, that they've got their Boston event in a couple of weekends' time. Challengers event alongside, well, effectively 1 week before the Major 4 officially begins. So going to be excited to see that one because that's no, it's a pretty big event, honestly. And Boston are going to go to the home event. I hope their academy can deliver the goods. But nice to see organizations again getting involved in kind of the academy front and trying to, well, build some talent up for future seasons. Such that, I mean, Toronto, of course, done it to pretty good effect with the likes of Scrappy, and then either they keep Scrappy next year or they sell him on. We'll certainly talk about Scrappy here in a second after the elite performance that he's had. But yeah, organizations seemingly still seeing some value in academy. So that is good to see regardless of what's going on right now in the challenger scene. I'm sure it could be an awful lot better. And this also from Shawnee I thought was good. It's usually a challenge for players outside of North America to make sure the visas are all sorted. And as he says, announced the team today after a long stressful 8 months, finally got the visa renewed. So awesome stuff. I'm sure the Boston guys kind of helped him out with this stuff as well. So great to see from Shawnee. And well, hopefully other players can follow suit as well if they want to stay in the US, because always difficult time to make that one work. So glad it's worked out here for Shawnee. Underrated player, I think, to some degree during his tenure in the league. Let's talk about the elite then. Stage 4 finishes in Europe and North America. The winners in Europe, kind of crazy actually. It's aBeZy's team, Chakstuck, Cobra and aBeZy. Like, I'm definitely not a team that I expected to win, but then again, aBeZy, I'm pretty sure has won every single Challengers Elite so far that he's competed in. Like when he's been in North America and now in Europe, he's just won them all. Earlier this season, of course, he was on that Texas Nation team with Havok, Kismet, General and aBeZy. Then of course, all of those guys got a shot at some point to run either in the Pro League. aBeZy was the one to kind of, well, not have that happen to him. General's now stepped away, it seems, from the Challenger side. aBeZy's gone back to Europe. So tough scene for him, but he's still killing it. So hopefully someone gives this guy a spot again, because I think he definitely deserves it, his performance in Challengers the last couple of seasons or so. And even as, well, CDC Intel says right here, elite stat for aBeZy. He's won all 3 elite stages he's been a part of across both regions. Underrated player for sure about that one. And let's talk about the North American side, because Scrappy, Tactical Scrappy, was going off on the main stage. This guy, man, it's such a shame, I think, that this guy's year has been so good. Like, he's generally a star player in the making, there's no doubt about it. And I mean, yeah, just look at the gunfights he's winning right here. Absolutely out of control, this guy. And at that point, he was already 28 and 13 and up to 3-piece like that. So, I mean, look, I don't know if this guy's going to be a one-game wonder. I don't think that's the case, just watching some of his gameplay, but it was kind of the case for Dylan Cod back in Black Ops 4. Since then, he can never really repeat the level of being a top 3 SMG in the game Dylan was for a time. So it's always kind of difficult to say, but it would be a shame if this is effectively Scrappy's best game ever, and it will continue to be in the future. And maybe next season when he does get a spot, can he be as good as this again? But, you know, it's just fantastic to watch this guy play. But it's unfortunate, really, because if he didn't sign that subs contract with Toronto, then, like, probably another team tries to sign this guy. But Toronto don't want him on their starting team at the moment. Makes sense as well, because Cammy's been turning up as well. But, yeah, I mean, it's still kind of sad to see this guy had to play in Challengers all season. But, I mean, yeah, still, this clip still never ceases to amaze. Now, he wins, of course, the thing as well. Toronto Ultra Academy, North America, Scrabby, Hixie, Vickle, and Mohawk. They take it down. And, I mean, of course, yeah, they'll go into the World Championship certainly as the favourites to win the entire thing game. But Scrappy is just unguardable at this point. As he says, back-to-back 50k Elite Season 4 champs. Someone get a trade. Like, no one can kill me right now, effectively, is what he's saying. I'm pretty sure he took over, like, every single map he played. Like, there was, like, it's kind of rare that players can dominate every single map in Vanguard, because it's tough to keep the consistency right. But if you're just going off every single map, it just shows that, well, your build's different, effectively. And as he kind of says here, it's about time, or like, no, it's only a matter of time until he finds himself a spot in the league. So probably not going to happen this year. Next year, I'm almost certain someone's going to give this guy a chance. And we'll talk later today about one of the teams that might potentially consider Scrappy's services depending on how things turn out going. And I want to talk about Scump real quick, because he's got to keep improving. Also, I believe today on the 30th is Scump's birthday. So happy birthday to Scump. As he says, can't believe I'm 30. He's not actually 30, by the way. I'm pretty sure he's 27. He even put 29 in his bio. But like, his birthday, I'm pretty sure, is the 30th of June, 1995, which would put him at 27 27 today, which I think is correct. If you guys are like, I'm pretty sure that's right. He's definitely not 30, he's definitely not 29. That's an absolute fact, because otherwise he'd be the oldest player in the league, and that's not the case. He is, I believe, the oldest SMG player in the league, though. But still, 27, like, it's not like he's really getting on that much. Clayster's 30. Crimsix, I believe, now is 29 or thereabouts. Like, I mean, yeah, Scump's still got at least a couple of more years in him, especially the way he's been playing so far this season. Lately, he hasn't really hit that level that he was earlier on, but it does seem like, at least based on what Rambo's saying here in a second, that for whatever reason, iLLeY, when he plays with these guys, just makes these guys think and play on a higher level than what they usually do. Probably part of it is the fact that they were kind of losing full with all the kind of musical chair situation, prelude in, prelude out, and all this type of stuff. But it does seem like iLLeY enables these guys to a level that we don't usually see when they're playing it with, well, with a different player in the roster. We'll see that here in a second. This also did want to mention from Formal, though. Happy birthday, Joe. Wonder what these next couple of years have in store for us, right? So, of course, like, it's kind of difficult to read into exactly what Formal means by this and what might potentially happen here. You know, can we get a Scump and Formal podcast? That'd be a good time. But, you know, also, I wonder what Formal's thinking. I'm not really sure what his thoughts are right now on the state of the Halo scene, but it's obviously not going particularly well. They have barely any events. Of course, he is on the OpTic team and should still be a pretty successful roster. So, we'll see how that one goes. But who knows if Formal's thinking, damn, yeah, maybe Modern Warfare 2, time to make the return, get back here alongside Scump. They wouldn't really work anyway, 4v4 with Dashy there. But, I mean, still, I wonder exactly what his thought process was behind this tweet. Now, they also say happy birthday to Prelude. His birthday now was yesterday. And he also kind of says, we saw this a little bit ago, that it seemed like Prelude, when iLLeY was meant to be coming back before the Major 4 qualifiers themselves, was pretty convinced that he was not going to be there anymore. Like, as he says here now, shout out to everyone at OpTic, making me feel like one of their own instantly. Glad I got to meet everyone out here. Nothing but great vibes, right? So this kind of implies again that he feels like it's probably, you know, his job is done. I'm pretty sure he's still there in Texas around the Hex quarters, just in case they need him back, because, you know, at this point you can't guarantee anything with iLLeY, but they do seem to be, well, Rambo certainly says here in a second, that they're way more confident now than they have been in a long time, in pretty much the entire period. This is the most confident they've been. This is the most confident the doctors have been, that iLLeY is good to go again and will not be required to step out of the team again. So a lot of talk on this from Rambo last night on stream. I cut it down to about 2 minutes or so of clips where Rambo says a lot of different things. First, that iLLeY is back. He reckons that this is it for the roster changes for the rest of the season. The doctors, he went to the doctors, that they reckon that he's okay. He will have to change his grip on the control. I thought was rather interesting, though, that because of the way he's been holding it for the last 10, 15 years or whatever, like it's effectively better kids, the strange way he's held the controller, whatever exactly that is, has potentially caused this issue. So we'll have to change that, which might not be an easy adjustment period, but also saying that since he's returned to the team, they look like their old selves again, and they're already thinking and playing on a new level.
Without certainty, because there's always a possibility that that he would step back out, but I think this is the first time with confidence that we can say that we're done playing musical chairs. Ender's basically back. We saw another doctor yesterday. A lot of things that were said and were talked about were basically saying that he's good to go with confidence, that things won't get worse at all. And I mean, honestly, that's been said before, but it's just like now he's to a point where like it's healed enough to where like he's able to play, and it's not really going to change anything. So, but I think the most important thing to really talk about here is also iLLeY used to play in a really weird way with his hands, and I think we all feel and we all agreed that, including the doctors, that it's probably what's caused the issue. So he's had to change his ways a little bit on how he holds the controller, which is not the easiest things to do. Every player in themselves have found their identity and their comfort again with the things that Ender brings back in IGL and just kind of how he goes about his things around the map. It was just very kind of soothing to hear the things the doctor was saying, and just kind of reassuring myself, not only Ender, but myself, to really kind of know that it's okay for him to play. What iLLeY does shouldn't change like things as drastically as they did yesterday. Like, we look like ourselves yesterday is really kind of like the bottom line. Like, and again, like I think Byron's been an incredible sub and is definitely a good player who's going to be in the pro league next year. I don't have a doubt in my mind about it. But there's just something about iLLeY, and is like, it's really just the IGL part. Like not just, but like mainly the IGL part that just really kind of like, it triggers everyone else to start thinking in the correct ways, and ways that we talked about how to play all year long.
So hopefully the back and forth here is over. I thought the kind of two interesting points there was certainly at the end, the fact that, well, how iLLeY is able to get the best out of these players. I think, as I say, probably part of it was the fact that they were so frustrated with the idea that they were having to play constantly with different players. Like, I'm sure didn't make it easy on them mentally, right? I'm sure the guys were going into scrims thinking like, oh my god, we thought iLLeY was coming back and now Prelude's here again. Like, Prelude's a good player, don't get me wrong. And Rambo said also that he reckons that Prelude still 100% gets a spot in the league next year. But he's not an iLLeY, he's not the enabler that iLLeY is, he's not the kind of the in-game leader that iLLeY can be. We see that the clutch factor of OpTic tends to disappear off a cliff whenever iLLeY isn't in the roster, but it was great at the start of the year. He seems to be able to just help, well, get the best out of those players. And aBeZy lately has been performing like on unbelievable levels, and that's without iLLeY in the team. And iLLeY, well, theoretically should get quite a lot out of him, but also out of the SMG duo as well. So Rambo was basically saying that, like, look, they weren't really thinking about the game. They're making so many mistakes. They pretty much forgot how to play the game for some reason. But when iLLeY's there, all of a sudden it just gets the best out of the players. And Ram said that was kind of frustrating from a coaching point of view, that you know, somehow the team can't do it without iLLeY, which is obviously a concern. But when they do have iLLeY, who's their guy, like they can get to those levels, and pretty much immediately are getting to those levels once again. I believe that Method said something like kind of the scrim. I think we saw the screenshot right here. This scrim map, the screenshots that Shotzzy put out. Apparently this was off against a scrim against Boston, and supposedly Method said that actually they beat OpTic in this. OpTic lost to Boston in this scrim set result or whatever. Like I don't really know who really cares about the scrim map count, to be honest, at the end of the day. But I think Method just got to defend his team from getting smoked in this particular map potentially. But I mean, yeah, regardless of the situation, honestly, they reckon that they're back on form. Obviously, their practice the last couple of weeks has been, well, was good with iLLeY briefly. Then he has to step out again. Now, apparently, the range of motion is back, and it should be okay. Like the doctors reckon it's going to be okay as long as iLLeY kind of changes his controller grip. And this actually was mentioned here back at the Prime Classic when he said he was trying to play that one series that he played and won. I think they're 3-0'd some guys, and then he dropped like a 1.2. But he said it wasn't particularly comfortable, even though he tried to change the way he was kind of holding his controller. So seemingly that's what he's going to have to do. Like, may potentially mean that his level for a little bit of time until he fully adjusts isn't necessarily quite as good as it was. The issue is with iLLeY as well coming back, there was going to be a lot of pressure on him to perform individually because he's been out for quite some time. Like I'm sure OpTic fans were thinking that roster with Prolete didn't really have much potential to win events and win the World Championship. With iLLeY, they know they do have the potential there, so there is pressure on him to perform. But at the same time, if he can, you know, just get the best out of the rest of the players and the team is better on the whole, then that just shows iLLeY's importance to this team fundamentally, which obviously is very evident with what Rambo was saying right there. So he's frustrated that they seemingly couldn't get to the level without iLLeY in the team, but now he is back and he should be back for the rest of the year. They reckon they will be able to get back to that kind of form they had. At the same time, though, they have lost some practice time compared to other teams. Like it's been a bit of a mess. They of course go into this week, they play Paris Legion, then they play New York on the Sunday, and then next week they play Toronto Ultra. So Paris should theoretically be an easier game than the other two, but I mean still, they start 0-2, 3-6 map counts. They're going to need to go easily 2-3 if they want to make it to the winners bracket of the major. And ideally they win all 3 of their remaining games if they want to guarantee it, right? And that's the thing, if they don't make winners bracket of the major, which is a reasonable possibility based on the way things are currently going, but I think with iLLeY they will still manage to make that happen. But if they don't, like how much practice do they reasonably get on LAN at the major? Like how well does it prepare them for the World Championship? There's many different questions here, but I thought it was interesting, the explanations on the whole. Definitely intrigued to your perspective on this one in the comment section below. And it's also an interesting question to me as to whether we're going to somehow get even greater levels on aBeZy for the rest of this year, right? Because as Rambo was kind of saying that the entire team seems to reach new levels when iLLeY's on the roster, and of course it's been Scump and Shotzzy individually that are kind of been struggling as of late, but aBeZy's still been great. He was dropping 1.4s, he's like a walking 1.2, as is Cellium. Like, it's honestly kind of crazy to think about the levels that we've seen this year from aBeZy and Cellium. Pretty much from the word go, they've both been out of control, lights out in terms of the AR role all year. They both just, I mean, look at this snapshot, it's just unbelievable. Like, this guy all year, and Cellium as well, has just been dropping 1.2s for the fun of it. They're going neck and neck all season long. It's actually a great storyline, really. Like, who's going to be the MVP if these teams theoretically are both on the same playing field at the end of the year and pretty much like splitting series or whatever. Of course, OpTic have the upper hand in their head-to-head against Cellium and FaZe so far this year, but FaZe have the upper hand in terms of results, at least consistency of results and also CDL points and this type of stuff. So a great storyline really to think about aBeZy versus Cellium, and maybe if he can get a greater level out of even aBeZy, then oh well, we could be in for a blockbuster into the season. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button. Tell us on YouTube, gods, this is a good video, and it's like you should see it as well. And I hope grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.